What's up guys? Today I have something a bit different than the usual content, but I think this is a video that really needs to be made. Quick disclaimer, yes, I do agree that cheaters, desync, performance, and of course audio are the most important issues right now, and I'm not ignoring that, but rather acknowledging the fact that BSG knows about these things already and is clearly trying to fix them. These issues have been present for the past 3 years that I have played Tarkov at least, and seem like a never-ending battle. The issue that I'm addressing in this video is a quick change that would only take BSG devs a few hours, let's be generous and say days, and would in my opinion save Tarkov. So of course, I'm talking about recoil. Look at the barrel and look at how it recoils. That was me not compensating for the recoil at all. So history lesson for all of you newer players out there. Back in the day, before December 12th, 2021, Tarkov recoil was much lower than it is currently. The meta guns were the HK416, the M4A1, the Chris Vector, the FN-FAL, the MDR, the VSS or ASVAL, the MP7, the RSAS, the SR25, the AKM, the P90, and well, now that I think about it, pretty much every single gun in the game was good, or at least viable. On December 12th, 2021, BSG came out with patch 12.12. This patch included Lighthouse, Inertia, weapon overheating, malfunctions, VoIP, and of course, recoil adjustments. The patch notes for the recoil specifically include reduced the automatic recoil compensation when firing long bursts, decrease the recoil reduction bonuses from skills, and last but not least, my favorite of the three, general refinements and improvements in the weapon recoil system. And I repeat, general refinements and improvements in the weapon recoil system. Now at the time, people assumed that the aggressive recoil changes might be less noticeable once we started to unlock the meta gun builds or leveled up our recoil skills. 20 recoil, or we can get 42 or go 19 recoil. We're gonna go 49-20. This thing's still gonna feel like it has more recoil than the RD704 watch. But as soon as we realized that this was not the case in the slightest, and the meta had changed in a way that, to be honest, doesn't make much sense, the recoil on every automatic gun is now very aggressive, especially in the first few shots of a burst before it levels out automatically, without player input. This also seems to be affected heavily by the RPM of the gun over anything else. For example, the recoil in an RD704 with 600 RPM somehow feels on par with an 800 RPM MP5, even though the RD is shooting 7.62 by 39 and the MP5 is shooting 9mm. Not only do you get the benefit of a round with a much higher pen and damage on the RD704, but the recoil adjustments have just made it on par with the MP5 in terms of recoil in the first place. So after these recoil changes, there's only a few meta, or I would even argue viable, guns in the game. A good example Clean brought up to me is the fact that the PP19 and MP5, or even the MP5 SD, are essentially useless in comparison to the UMP early wipe. When you account for recoil, which is obviously heavily affected by the fire rate, the price, the availability of the ammo, and the stats of that ammo. So once you get to the late wipe, there's only a few competitive guns there as well, including the Mutant, the RD704, the SR25, the MDR, and the RSAS, in my opinion. Give or take a few guns I would consider viable only when modded heavily, but they make no sense to run in comparison to those few. Before you comment, but streamer, I got a kill with the PP19, so I think it is skill issue, blah, 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 I don't struggle with whatever. I want you to think back on how many umps you've seen in the past 3 weeks, why you were seeing those umps, and as well as how sick you were of dying to BP and M62 during the last 4 months of the wipe. So this is where stuff gets kind of crazy. Yes, recoil is actually bugged and has been bugged since the patch 14 months ago. My woes with recoil have finally been proven as something more than just me complaining or a skill issue. All thanks to this guy right here. About 9 months ago, Spectator6, a US emissary for Tarkov, posted this video about how flawed the recoil system really is in Escape from Tarkov. I'll link his video below, but I'll also do a quick simplified demonstration for those of you with an attention span similar to mine. When firing a pistol or a handgun in Tarkov or real life, wherever, when you shoot this, it's going to recoil up like this, right? There's no stock, there's nothing bracing this against your body or your shoulder. It's your hand controlling it. It's going to recoil up at that angle, and it's going to generate this recoil from the point of contact with your body, which is the pistol grip. Now, when you shoot a rifle and you brace it against your shoulder with a stock, right, it's going to push into your shoulder, and it's because of this point of contact not going to have the ability to drop down and recoil as if it were a handgun. Now, the problem with recoil in Tarkov, especially on rifles right now, and it has been since 12/12/2021, is the fact that it's not registering this point of contact with your shoulder, and rather acting as if it's an upgraded version of a handgun with no stock contact to your body. So when you shoot a rifle, it points upwards like this, and you lose this contact with the optic, and your reticle flies out of the sight picture, which is definitely not realistic and definitely not convenient or fun when playing. So what Tarkov needs to do is go back and register the fact that this is pushing into your body rather than acting as if it's a handgun with better stats. But I cannot stress this enough. Go watch that video. He explains it extremely well. It'll be linked in the description below. So just take a look at a few of these clips from both handguns and rifles to get a better feel about what I'm talking about here. So now that we understand this concept, what can be done about it? Well, Spectator6 actually already posted this video 9 months ago suggesting a better recoil system, so we'll watch it really quickly. So the idea here is that depending on the caliber, the type of weapon, the stats of that weapon, and all of these factors that are already equated into the current recoil system, you'll have an area for the round to disperse and the aim to return to, right? So you have this approximate free aim return area. So obviously the better ergo, recoil stats, all of this stuff would tighten this area up or widen it depending on how good the gun's stats were. This would make sense both from a realism standpoint, a skill-based, just enjoyment of the game standpoint, and I think it's a great basis for completely reconsidering the current recoil system in general. So thanks to Clean, and of course all the love that you guys have been showing to the recoil posts on Twitter, BSG saw Spectator's video and agreed that there's a ton of work to be done and that they actually plan on making changes. I'm extremely excited about this change and its potential to improve the game for everybody involved. Again, thank you guys so much for backing me up through all of this insane hate for some reason, and even somehow threats that I've been getting on my social media for just trying to meme and bring this issue to light. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys on Twitch and in the next one.